Hello and welcome to my video. Today we are talking about phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs are phrases made up by a verb and the preposition or an adverb. Their meaning is often different to the meaning of the single verb. Phrasal verbs are frequently used by native speakers and are more common than the usage of a single verb. They appear in spoken and written language, as well as informal and formal language. One phrase can carry many different meanings depending on the context. For example, the phrasal verb back up. Back up can mean to support somebody in an argument, for example, to say somebody is telling the truth even though they're lying, to copy data on a computer, to support research with evidence, to drive a car backwards, or a traffic jam. So cars backing up, they're lining up at the traffic lights or because of an accident. It can also mean that pipes are blocked, like water taps. And it can also mean to walk or move back. So how do we find them? Prepositions usually belong to a noun. Therefore, it's more difficult to spot phrasal verbs in a text. But we can help ourselves finding them by rephrasing the sentence using a synonym. For example, she grew up in Montana. She was raised in Montana, or she lived in Montana. In each case, we have to substitute both words, grew and up. Therefore, we know it is a phrasal verb. We can also change the word order in a sentence. In Montana, she grew up. Or also, grow up in Montana, she did. Both sentences sound weird, so we wouldn't necessarily talk or write like that, but we can use it to find out whether it's a phrasal verb or a normal preposition. In the first sentence, we cannot move up to the front because it wouldn't be grammatically correct anymore. Up in Montana she grew is not grammatically correct and doesn't make any sense. So we know grew and up belong together. We can also form questions. If we have two sentences, he ran up an incredibly high bill and he ran up an incredibly high mountain. So if we want to find out if it's a phrasal verb or a preposition, we just simply can rephrase the sentence and make a question out of it. What did he run up? An incredibly high bill. Or where did he run? Up an incredibly high hill or mountain. If we would separate run and up in the first question, the question would be, what did he run? Up an incredibly high bill. The answer doesn't make sense, so we know up belongs to run and they stay together. Therefore, we know if the particle, that's the linguistic term, belongs to the noun, it's a preposition, and if it belongs to the verb, it's a phrasal verb. If you have a sentence with an object, like in I think you should hand it over immediately, or would you mind switching the light off, then you can choose to place the phrasal verb in between the two particles. So, like in hand it over, it in between hand and over, or at the end, like in would you mind switching off the light? So you can choose where you want to put it. If you have an object that's longer and consists of more words than just 2 or 3, you always put it in the back. right after the phrasal verb, like in they carried off everything they found in the house. So you can choose where to place it, but it sounds more natural if you put it in between. They called everybody back for another interview. He found it difficult to shut the crowd up. It is extremely difficult to tell the brothers apart. In sentences where you don't have an object or it's optional, you can always place it in the back after the phrasal verb. It was a great opportunity and she jumped at it. Or you can leave it out completely. It was a great opportunity that she jumped at. You don't necessarily need the object here because it's repetitive. However, you could use it to refer back to the opportunity. And in this case, you always add the object at the end of the sentence. Here we have some examples. If you have the single verb exhaust, she's totally exhausted after 2 hours of playing hockey. You can use a phrasal verb there, like tire out or wear out. She's completely worn out after 2 hours of playing hockey. In this case, wear doesn't mean to wear clothes, but it means to be exhausted. In a business context, if you want to say that you had to fire somebody, for example, the company had to fire workers because of the recession, you could use lay off. The company had to lay off workers because of the recession. You can also use phrasal verbs in other contexts, in general contexts. For example, if you want to say that someone resembles another person, in my example, Kim resembles her father. She has the same personality and likes the same food. You could use the phrasal verb take after. Kim takes after her father. She has the same personality and likes the same food. There are many more examples, of course, and there are even dictionaries solely about phrasal verbs. Now, I want to challenge you. Read any book, newspaper, magazine, or blog, whatever you want, or watch a movie, a TV show, or a whole season, and look for phrasal verbs. How many can you find? And do all these 3 tests work for you to find out whether it's a phrasal verb or the preposition belongs to a noun. You can comment if you want to, and I hope you enjoyed the video and learned something new. Have a nice day.